Hello and welcome to this In Spectacles webinar on Sheila Birling. We're looking at quotations and looking at how they reveal her character, linked to key ideas and themes, and we're trying to use subject terminology to analyse these quotations. The first set of quotations that we're looking at really are showing how Sheila Birling is an insecure and jealous character. She's obsessed with appearance and looking good, and she judges other people on how they look, and she feels threatened if her looks are judged somehow. When the inspector talks about the girl who took her own life by drinking disinfectant, one of the first questions she asks is, was she a pretty girl? The adjective pretty showing that immediately the kind of information she wants to know is about looks and appearance. And then when she confesses that she had Eva Smith sacked for laughing at her, she said if she'd been a plain miserable creature, and so those adjectives plain and miserable suggest that she would have compassion on something that is ugly or beneath her, but something that would be like her or more beautiful than her, she wouldn't be willing to have compassion on, which really is very telling about her nature. And she says, I couldn't be sorry for her. She was a pretty girl, a lively girl, a stunning girl, and she couldn't be sorry for her because she saw her as a threat rather than something to have compassion on. So you can see how shallow and insecure Sheila is at the start of the play. However, we see that actually she's an insightful character. She learns quickly and she really begins to understand the inspector's purpose, and she begins to understand and have more compassion for other people. She says these girls aren't just cheap labor, they're people. More than the male characters in business, she understands that the labor force is made up of individuals and we shouldn't be exploiting them en masse. And she says, Mother, I think it was cruel and vile. She understands that when a woman like Eva Smith is pregnant and desperate and single, we should be showing compassion rather than judgment. And she says to her mother, you mustn't try and build a wall up, a kind of wall up between us and that girl. If you do, then the inspector will just break it down. She understands that the inspector's purpose is really to break down the walls. That metaphor of a wall is really understanding that there is no escape, there's no judgment for moral crime, and also to understand that, like other people who are lower than themselves, the Birling family have to face what they've done. They have to face the consequences of their actions. And that is the inspector's purpose, really to bring them to judgment, to get them to face and understand the error of their ways. And the final thing to understand is that Sheila's character really is a transformative character. She's someone who is willing to change, and she's someone who is dramatically changed from the beginning of the play, when she was an insecure, shallow and jealous, appearance obsessed girl, to the end of the play. She says it was my own fault, one of the few characters that takes full responsibility. And she says the point is, you don't seem to have learned anything. She understands that the purpose of the inspector's visit is really to change their minds and understand and help them to be better people who make better choices. And she says to her fiance, after she breaks up with him, you and I aren't the same people who sat down at dinner. It shows a maturity. She understands that the truth has had an impact on the relationships, and they cannot continue to pretend, and they can't continue to act as they have been all the while. So we can see that Sheila Birling begins as a jealous, insecure character, and she very quickly gains insight and understands the inspector's purpose. She's willing and able to change, unlike many of the other characters. I hope that you've understood a bit more about Sheila Birling. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.